Welcome to the annual Wisconsin State High School Curling Championships from the Wausau Curling Club. And in action, we start out this morning with Wausau West and Marshfield. There are 16 teams in the girls' competition, 16 in the boys. And coming into this in the round robin, there are 4 brackets, and the pairings are by draw. West, Marshfield, Kimberly, and Wausau East are all in this bracket. Marshfield 1-1, West 2-0. So they've won their first 2 out of the 3. The winner of this one, Marshfield and Wausau West, goes to the semifinals this afternoon as we move on in tournament play. The winners in this one move on. The loser is done with their tournament. Every team gets 3 games before the semifinals and then the finals later in the day. We're looking right now at the beginning of the third end. West scored 1 in the first, Marshfield 2 in the second. So West has the hammer now. And we are just basically beginning. Marshfield rink is the spindle rink. Evan Nansted, Sydney Vensky, Sierra MacArthur, and Grace Spindle are the foursome on that rink. 1, 2, 3, and skip. For Wausau West, Madison Olson is the 1 or lead. Ella Wendland is second. Katie Rennie third, and the skip is Amelia Hintz. So it's the Hintz rink. And this is a Marshfield yellow taking a raise and putting themselves with the point in the house as we move on. So the release. And a little bit heavy on that one for Wausau West. So it's out of play. We've got a 4-foot, 8-foot, 12-foot circle. Button in the middle. T-line going across. This is Marshfield now. And their second, Sydney Vensky. She matches up with their teammates, yellow. West strategy is just put it in the middle. It's wide open. No guards out in front yet. So it's a matter of weight and distance, which is always a combination. And the ice conditions have a lot to do with their success. Well, this is a really nice shot for Wendling. The second, Ella Wendling. As now West has the point. And we move on to our third. For Marshfield, that's Sierra MacArthur. Again, it's wide open. No guards out in front. Nothing in the very middle. The button area. You can see her approach up to the hog line. And immediately they have decided the ice is a little slow, so we're going to, well, that's not what they wanted to do, that's for sure. As that takes a rock away from them. And it goes back to Marshfield. Again, Marshfield has the hammer. When the other team scores, when West scores, but in this case, Marshfield scored 2 in the second, so West has the hammer. And this one's going to be, now that they have a guard up there, it just makes it in across the top hog. Pretty much still open. See what Marshfield does now. They're the yellow. They have the team jackets, the Tigers. This one's going to cause some problems for somebody. Well, it was a good one for Marshfield. It took one West on a takeout. It separated the two Marshfield rocks. And they have 2 points right now. So now we go back to West with the second shot for Kaney Rennie. And they talk it over now. We've got it set. They know what they want to do. They want to take out or draw to that yellow. The key here is if you're going to take it out, you've got to be able to stop yourself. And for West, they went through without touching any stone. And basically, again, too heavy. So Marshfield in a good position right now. Very good position. Although West has the hammer, Marshfield has a couple of yellow in there that are separated enough that it would be very difficult to get them both out. Take a great shot to do so. Early in the competition, third end. This is Marshfield skip, Grace Spindle. Wausau West has won the state championship. For girls, the state championships for Wausau's curling, high school curling, started in 1976. West first won in 86, and then 89, and then he won again in 2009 and 2011. And in those cases, a lot of times there are repeat players on teams that win state championships, because typically they're good skaters or good curlers and they're experienced. Combination of the two is very important for success. Like any other high school sport or sport period, you want good competition. You want to be competitive yourself. Always a chance to win. And curling is no exception. There aren't many teams through the history of the championships for high school curling that run more than maybe two years in a row. In the girls, in all the time they've had the championship, and it's now 36 years, the only team with a run of 3 in a row, Wausau East, 97, 98, and 99. And in those 3 years, they had 2 girls, well, actually 3. 3 of the 4 that were on that winning team. So they repeated, which is not easy to do either. This is Olson, Olson with the broom. And they put themselves in a good position now as they have the point. So for Marshfield now, the idea is, since they have 2 rocks possible or potential, the idea would be to take out that red stone from Wausau West and they could end up with 3 points. Otherwise, if they come up a little short or miss, it can be anything from them having 1 point to West having a point. Easy to figure out the strategy here for the opportune amount. But again, West has the hammer, so we will see. Here's the delivery for Grace Spindle. Nice straight ahead, focus. The Marshfield Tigers girls have never won a state championship. In fact, there are years where they don't compete in the state championship. But this year they are at 1-1. That's not what they wanted to do either. Not at all. Now West has an easy option here just to score and get 2 points. That one in the back, the yellow is closer to the button than the red. So if West decides to take out or closer to the button this stone, they've got 2 points coming. Pretty much a wide open house that Amelia Hintz has to look at, to work with. And it looks like she's going to do a nice job of just getting it in there for that extra point. So they'd have 2 points. Nice shot. Well done. So Marshfield ends up with 2. And they take a 3-2 lead after 3 ends. And the hammer goes back to Marshfield. When you score and you don't have the hammer, that's called a steal. And in the course of 8 ends, and high schools play 8 ends here, you really, if you're going to win the game, you need to do a couple of those. At this level, you don't see blanks very often, which is a strategy sometimes. Just to keep the hammer, maybe toward the last ends. See that at other levels, but the high school, you don't see it very often. Here they just play the game. And play what they have. So this is the first rock end four for West. Madison Olson. She follows the sweepers, and they're waiting for instructions, and they're just going to let it go. And when you have the hammer, that's not a bad shot because it's a guard. Okay, makes it a little more difficult for the other team to put it in the forefoot. This is Evan Nanstead for Marshfield. She lines it up, release. A little bit on one of the curlers now that kind of puts it off to her side on the release instead of straight through on the arm. Her goal is to put it in there as a point, but it's not going to happen. Again, it's that old weight issue, the ice. That seems to be the biggest problem for a lot of these high school curlers is, you know, they haven't had enough practice and experience to have the muscle memory and feel for distance and, you know, how much to put weight in there, how hard to send it. First rock, first lead, West. Now Marshfield hoping that the West doesn't set up one back there, but they do back in the 12-foot. So now they've got a point sitting there. And this is the second delivery for Nanstead for Marshfield. She wants to just either take out that guard. Well, she did what she wanted to do. She took the guard out of a little bit of that path and was able to get in the 8-foot circle. This looks like N4 is going to be a give and take end. One team tries to take out the other, and in a lot of those games you settle for 1 or 2 points. This is the second now for West. Ella Windling. And she does a nice job. You can tell. I mean, the Wendling family, her brother's on the boys team. Her dad is the head coach. Her dad did most of the work for setting up the state curling tournament again this year. He puts a tremendous amount of energy and expertise into setting this up here. It's under COVID protocol. That's why the athletes are wearing masks. They have a choice of what they want to wear. The rest of the group downstairs, the spectators, they have to wear a K mask, or a KN. And the locker rooms are for students and coaches only, and the clubhouse, students and coaches and workers only. So they're making it work as a tournament. Not sure what the goal was there, but it didn't work for Marshfield. She came up short. Marshfield's in a situation right now, they need a takeout replacement kind of a situation. Take one away and put one in for yourself. So we're back to Ella Windley with her second shot. And she's going to put it in a nice spot. A good location. Now they have 3 points on the circle. And they lead 3-2. This time the Marshfield curler put some energy into it. And let's see if she can get through there. No, she hit her own rock. So Marshfield in a great position here, up 1 to add 2 or 3 more points. But again, the middle is open. There's room in the 4-foot for the hammer at the end for the Tigers. Katie Rennie for West. Setting up. This is her first delivery. You can see she's focused. She sets up a in turn on the spin or the curl, where the name comes from for curling. Curling goes back to Scotland. Now you can say a couple of centuries ago. You can see the skip saying, you know, let it be. Basically, it's a guard. So we're getting down to the last 2 curlers for N4. Sierra MacArthur. All of these girls so far have come off the left hack. They're right-handed. Again, she's got some energy on it. See if it gets through that first one. Nope. She had to get by that guard, and they have not been able to do that. Her teammate wasn't able to do it with 2 rocks. She's not been able to do it with her first. So again, West is back to 3 points. You don't see any yellow in the house. Yet they have the hammer, so it's not over. That's one of the cool things about curling is you can see changes in the points and momentum very quickly. Doesn't take much. And especially at the high school level, if you've got someone that can really put the rock where they want it to go consistently, that's a big part of their success. Okay, here's West setting up that rock for a guard. I think they're satisfied with that. Makes it more difficult for Marshfield, that's for sure. Okay, it looks like Marshfield wants to try a double here, which is not easy, but if this girl can take out that one rock where the skip set the broom for a target and bounce it to the right, they can, but you know, looks okay. Well, she got one of them. She got one. The angle wasn't perfect, so she wasn't able to get that bounce they wanted to the other rock, but that helps Marshfield. Now we get to the skips. And Katie Rennie becomes the skipper, and Amelia Hintz talks to her. She slides down the ice. Still talking to her. West has those nice uniforms. Some teams have those jacket, light jacket, pant, shirts. Some teams, but you know, a few years ago, you saw a lot more color in these curlers. You don't see some of the caps, you know, the colorful caps or things of that nature. You haven't seen that in this tournament. Seen more dress casual or like West has, uniform set. Here's Amelia Hintz to skip for West, her first delivery. West, Everest, and East all practice and have their meets here at the curling club. So this is home for those three teams. Well, all that does now for Marshfield, it opens up a port. There's a good sized port outside the house between those two red stones for Marshfield to get through there and either place up or do a takeout. We'll see what their strategy is. The Marshfield skip, Grace Spindle. We're early in this one yet, in number 4, so plenty of activity and action to come up yet. There's a release by Grace. And they want to make sure they gets there. They don't want it to come up short of the house. You're not going to do anything if you don't get it in there to make life a little interesting. And guess what? They've tried a different angle, and let's see if it gets enough to make a difference. No, it doesn't look like it. 2 points are still there for Marshfield with the last stones coming up. Marshfield does have the hammer, but they've had all the way through this fourth end to take care of those 2 rocks in there, those 2 red in the house, and they haven't done it. Okay, they're talking about the strategy, and they're taking a look at the yellow rock, and they're still talking about how to get something in the button, which would make it more difficult for Marshfield. Okay, decision made. Maybe. All right. So Amelia Hintz heads down. Again, the winner of this game is in the semifinals. Every team plays a part of a bracket of 4. They play round robin. That's 3 games. And then the top team out of that foursome goes to the semis this afternoon. If 2 teams are both 2-1, since they've played each other, the one that goes to the semis is the one that won that particular game. So Marshfield 1-1 coming in, West record 2-0. If Marshfield wins this, they'll both end up 2-1, but they'll have the semi looking forward to being in because they beat West. But if West wins, they're in the semis, because they will have beaten all 3 other teams. This is Amanda Hintz. And these are not seeded. A lot of tournaments, they'll seed competition. This is strictly a draw. You know, there are teams from all over the state, and the fairest way is the draw because they don't know enough about the teams, you know, statewide. They don't compete that often. Marshfield, it's open. There's a port there. I mean, they could still score. Probably only one, but possible two. Check it out. Take a look at the possibilities. This is the first of 3 games that we're doing today. Yesterday we did 3. We had 3 games yesterday, and they were all lopsided. Was not the competition yesterday that we watched and chose to cover out of all the options of the games going on. We just didn't do a very good job of picking competition because they were all lopsided. One ended in 7 instead of 8, and a couple of them ended in 6 even. You know, you can reach a point in curling where you only have 8 rocks. Sometimes you mathematically or realistically you can't compete anymore to win. And that's the goal, the W. Let's see what she does. Again, this is a key for this game. And I don't know if she's going to be able to bump this or not. Nope. Nope. Didn't happen. So 2 more for the Warriors girls. And after 4, it is now West up. They were 1-0 after the first end. Marshfield scored a couple in the second to take a 2-1 lead, but now we're back. West now with 2 ends in a row. They've scored. They've stealed in this one to take a 4-2 lead. Marshfield retains the hammer because they lost that end. They had again opportunities and just did not cash in. So here we go. First for West again because Marshfield has the hammer. It's going to be Madison Olson. Katie Reddy and Ella Wendling with the brooms. Sweeping heavy. Trying to get again. Same strategy as the last end. Just put a guard out in front there and take it a little more, make it more difficult for Marshfield. Marshfield girls have not shown that they can, you know, place stones that well. And if it's the ice they're getting used to, that'll get better. If it's some issue with feel, that makes it more difficult. Evan Nanstead. With the release. She's decided, or doing at least, going off to the side, not in the middle. She wants to put it in the house, but it's short, so now we're back to West taking over this end early. Marshfield unable to put any pressure on West at all in the last couple ends. Putting, you know, Wausau West on the defensive where they had to not try to score with something wide open or available, but rather take out or get closer to Marshfield stones. Well, this one's too heavy for West, so, or Marshfield again for West. Now for Marshfield, that opens it up. Second stone for Nanstead. Edmund. See if she has the right weight to make something happen here. Well, there's more than before. Well, they're not going to sweep. They're hoping she'll stop before getting all the way through. And of course, the skip for West comes over to sweep. She can sweep once it's in there, and too hard. So still nothing in the house for either team here in the fourth end. First shot for Wendling. She's going to put it in the 8 foot. So now West has a rock and a point sitting there. And you can see the strategy set up for the second for Marshfield. Sydney Vensky, as she releases. Now this looks like it's going to be heavy enough, but I think she's going to miss. Yep. You can see the strategy she wanted to do. She wanted to take out, stay, but that was too heavy. They're still experimenting. They're still trying to figure it out. How much weight, how much push on the delivery. And it's definitely been a factor, a problem for Marshfield. Second shot for Wendling. And I go back to practice, practice, practice for curling, like a lot of sports, because there's so many factors involved. To get better, you need to practice. You need to play. And what Wendling does is she sets up a pair. Probably not exactly what they wanted to do, but it works. She did a draw that time. Sometimes what they'd rather do is put a stone on one side and the other side separated enough so one stone can not take them both out. See, Marshfield might be able to do something here. But now with 3 of them in there, see what happens. We're going to the thirds now. So it should be Kaylee Rennie for West. Getting the, oh, no, change your mind. We'll scrap that one and try this instead. We've got Marshfield and West each throw 4 stones. And West has had the house to themselves. Marshfield with 4 stones has been unable to put it in the house. And you're not going to score that way. Marshfield decides, okay, we're ahead. We don't have the hammer. Let's put one out as guard. Make it more difficult for the Tigers. Skip for Marshfield. Grace Spindle. Okay. Instructions are there. Now let's see if they can do it, the weight that and line that needs to get something done. Nope, 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 not that way. Still wide open for West. Marshfield doesn't do something this end, we could end up with another one of those finishes before 8, which is the norm. Somebody's got to win this, of course, tournament. So I think we've had a couple of extra ends in games here in this tournament yesterday, and maybe a couple more before it's over. But what we've been seeing so far, and this is our 4th game we're carrying, it's just good teams doing well and teams that struggle. Kaylee Rennie. Looks like they're going to set up another guard out front. And they'll take that. You can see why. I mean, they've got 3 behind it. Now, Marshfield. You're getting down the wire here on this end. You got to do something. Second shot for MacArthur. Certainly enough weight. Well, it didn't do anything. It did a little bump. If that would have hit square, it would have been a takeout. If it hit just off to the right of the 6 o'clock, it would have maybe taken out 2. So, Amanda Hintz, skipper, heads down to the other end for her first delivery. Katie Rennie takes over as the skip. Sometimes the third is called a vice skip because they are, it doesn't have to be the third to take over the skip. It can be any of the 4 that can be skips. But typically, that's how the team is set up. Well, there's got a lot of, you can't hear each other from one end to the other, so a lot of motions, sign language kinds of things. And if they play enough together, practice enough together, they know exactly what's being said. Well, there's language that the skips use with the sweepers to stop or start or hard or ease off or whatever too. And sometimes it's not words. Nice shot. Another guard. Marshfield is in trouble, folks. They've got 2 rocks left. Now they're going to go off, instead of trying to go through the button area and score, which takes all 3 of those away if they get a they could get a rock in the button, they would have 1 point. But it looks to me like right now they've decided we got to get some of those stones out of there. So we'll see how that works. Okay. She's the skip, so she's used to being in charge on decisions or last call kind of thing. Amelia, this is Grace Spindle for Marshfield. She's got 2 chances now to do something. And it's doable to actually have Marshfield score a couple points yet. She's going to miss. Yeah. You can see one team is operating with confidence, precision. The other team is struggling just to get the touch. Just to get the everything, the line, touch, the weight. It's just not happening. Well, here's the last stone for Hintz. Amelia. To skip for the Warriors. And she wants that set. Okay, she wants that in a perfect spot. You know, first, no, go this way a little bit. No, go the other way a little bit. Compromise. All right. Okay. Well, she talks to the sweepers, her teammates. Katie Rennie is down on the other end as a skip, so it's Ella and Madison. Yeah, they're going to try and score 4 here. And they've got 4. One in the 12. The other's in the 8. One in the button area, more or less. Now, for Marshfield, you got 2 choices. The best one, with confidence, you put it in the button. It's open. But it's not open without an excellent shot. Take a look at the guards. That West has really set this up well. So then the other option is you let it go, you put a lot of weight on, and you hit the front of those 3 rocks and have yours stop, or at least get a couple of them out of there and maybe give them 1, maybe 2 points. But right now they've got 4. Can't afford that. That means it's an 8-2 game after 4 ends, and that's not going to be the way Marshfield's playing right now. It's going to be a downhill battle, or uphill battle, big time. And they know how important this is, so they're talking about it and making a decision on it. And sometimes you just try to take out as many as you can with 1 rock. Okay. Big. There's no time limit in this tournament. High school play, there's no time limit. When they get to the big time, they'll have time limits. And they'll have a electronic starting line for the hog lines. You know, just like a track meet finish line. But here, Everything is done on the ice by the participants. The coaches sitting up in the bleachers with the parents and friends and fans, spectators. The decisions are made by the girls, and in scoring, they come to an agreement, or in a situation, they'll come to an agreement. We saw one yesterday where one of the sweepers happened to accidentally touch one of the rocks, and they agreed, okay, that's a violation. That rock was tossed to the side, out of play. That's the neat thing about curling. It is really totally team. They depend on each other. And then at the end of these games, many times here especially, because they have a beautiful clubhouse, they will go in on a larger table as two teams to chat. And many times in high school, girls and boys can become very good friends when they're competitors in high school because they have a lot of common interests. So they might even end up going to college as roommates or something, you know. It can be very healthy, high school sports, and very meaningful. Now let's see what, I don't think they have the angle that they want. They're trying to go through that, and they can't. I don't know. They tried. Well, there's a discussion about, and again, you can see the two skips are involved. And they're just talking about it. And I don't know what it was about. But it's 4 points. Well, they're going to give him 5. I don't know. $4 points. Okay, we're going to go with that. Right, it was 4 points in N5. That's where the 5 came from. When they even do their own scoring, put up their own scores. You know, the team that wins an N puts up the points that they earn. Well, we're going to move on. 8-2 after 5. Mathematically, yes, Marshfield has a chance. But they've got to pick up 2 or 3 each time, each end now. We've got 3 left. 6, 7, and 8. And now after that discussion, they have a timeout. And the West coach, Jim Wendling, talking to his foursome. And we don't know the name of the Marshfield coach, but they have 2 timeouts in high school curling at a tournament like this. One can be called by the team, the girls on the ice or the boys on the ice. The other one can be called by the team or by the coach. And Marshfield right now is he's giving them a little pep talk that, okay, we got to start now and turn this thing around. And we turn it around. We've got the hammer. We got to turn it around by getting 2-3 points in number 6. You don't want to go into end 8 down any more than a couple. Because number 1, from this point on, in order to get back in this game, they have to, you know, for Marshfield to get back in this game after this end, they will not have the hammer. And that's a factor. Okay, they have the hammer for 6, but if they score in 6, Marshfield has a hammer. Score in 7, Marshfield has a hammer. So that added on to the score itself make this a very, very big challenge for Marshfield. Okay, coaches are going back into the stands. And we will continue. You can see the fans in the stands with their masks on right now. Once in a while, you will see one of the curlers look into the stands and maybe make a signal. It might be to a parent or friend or classmate or somebody, but they can't really hear each other from the stands. And we're up above. We're doing this strictly by monitor view, and we're up above the stands. Occasionally you'll hear clapping or congratulations kinds of things, but this morning, this is the first game of the day. It's pretty quiet down there. And again, West has the first rock. Madison Olson puts it in play in the house, putting pressure on Marshfield. Well, the Marshfield girls have their work cut out for them, and they need to start right now. Evan Nanstead. These 8 sheets of ice, where there are 8 different games going on at once in this tournament. Semifinals will be 4 in the girls and 4 in the boys. And the championship, there will be two in each. So there's 1 game and then, or 2 games and then 1 on ice. But occasionally you will be able to see some players from other adjacent rinks. Second rock for West. Wants to take out, gets to take out, stays for point. Nice job. Nice job by Madison Olson of West. And I have to give Evan Nanstead credit. She put the first rock for the first time this morning into the 4-foot. Let's see if she can do it again. She did it once. The sweeping business is a judgment. Sometimes they, you know, she's going to be heavy, but she might. Okay. At least they have a point right there staring them. So the point right now is to Marshfield. So they're off to a much better start in this end than they have been since the first. Well, the second, if you look at the board back there, the second they scored their 2, that was it. And we're now in end number 6. Second shot for Marilyn Olson, or Madison. And She does a draw. So now West has the point, the Red Rock. And the decision is very simple for the second. Sydney Vensky from Marshfield. Take out the other one. The Red Rock. So accuracy, weight. Hopefully for her, she's got the line. Well, she's not going to get any other rock. The skip for West trying to sweep her out. She's in the house, but Marshfield still doesn't have a point out there. The point belongs to West. And there, West is going to do something that's very typical. They have a red rock on one end of the circle in the 12-foot. They want to put another one on the other side of the line, which means then that in order for Marshfield to take them out, they've got to take two. She's going more for the button than where the sweep had set up, but this is okay. Okay, now West has 2 points out there. Vensky for her second delivery. This one looks pretty good. Well, it's still 1 point for West, but it did take 1 point away. Now on this end, there's more action in the house. And probably because the girls have figured out the ice and the weight factor as they've played the game. And so they've got a little more feel for it. I don't know, but they're having more success now than they did earlier in this contest or match. This is Rennie. Kaylee Rennie. She's going to make things interesting here. Oh, okay. Almost cost them a point, but nope. Now it's still 2. And this is Sierra MacArthur. It's open now in the middle. No guards in front. That changes the game a lot because then you're depending more on, getting it in the house, getting in the button. Chances are better. Nice shot. Nice shot. So now Marshfield has 2 points. West chose on this end not to set up a guard out in front, and they've been doing it most of the game. And Marshfield's kind of taking advantage of that. Able to do a better job without guards getting it in the house. So this is Kaylee Rennie again, her second toss. See if they got the right curl. It looks like she did a nice job. Gives them a point back. Okay, so now West has 1 point in the house. And the counter from MacArthur Sierra MacArthur. She may hit the wrong rock. Oh, that's close. Well, still, West still has 1 point there. But you can see how in this end, this is a totally different game without the guards out in front. I mean, it's wide open, and they're more comfortable with that. Doesn't involve the curl. More of a straight line for them. Okay, we go to the skips for the last 4 rocks. Amelia Hintz. Marshfield has the hammer, so they've got a chance here to get 1 or 2 points. Right now, they're giving up 1. And there's a lonely 2 points up in the second end for Marshfield. And we're in end number 6. Looks like she's going to set up a guard. It's got to get across the hog line. It does. Okay, it might even be in the rock in the house. No, okay, it's a guard. Not a bad move. Not a bad move at all for Marshfield. Now, to counter, they still have to, they've got a choice. They can just put something in the button. They feel confident in doing that. And there's Skip. Grace Spindle getting set up. Putting her foot in the hack. Right-handed. Straight release. A little bit of in curl. They're sweeping heavy for a reason, because it looks like it's going to go in the house, but we'll see how far. Okay, nice, nice. Best shot of the game for Marshfield. Now they have a point, and it's Hintz's job, Amanda Hintz, to counter that. And what they're looking at right now looks like a bump. Or hit and roll, or whatever you want to call it. There's the fist bump from Ella, her teammate. Good luck. You can do it. If West could get a couple here, we could continue on. If Marshfield gets a couple points, we can continue on. If West scores a couple, we could be ending it. Well, it's heavy enough. Right on target. Look at that. Look at that. West now with 2 on the house. That was a great shot. Great shot. Last rock, last chance for Marshfield, in all honesty, to make this a game or even to continue on. She needs to put it in there for a point for them. You can only score somebody when you have 8 rocks on an end. You can't score any more than 8, and it's unlikely you're going to score more than 4. And the way they've been playing, that's not in the cards. Well, she might be able to get in there for a point. It's going to be close. They do. They get 1 point out of it. And that was a nice, she had nice, 2 of them in a row. Spindle. With good weight and got it in the button area. And because they did get a point, I believe we're going to continue on to number 7 end. You know, it's not a mathematical thing right now. It's a competition thing. And we will. So in N7, West up 8-3. They will continue on. Problem for Marshfield now is they got a point, but they lost the hammer. So now in N7, West has the hammer. First shot, N7. Evan Nanston. Sweeper's working pretty hard to just get it in the house. Or as a guard, one or the other. Okay. It's out on top of the house. This is Madison Olson's first rock for West. Yeah, there's no way that Marshfield wanted a guard out top. That first rock. They wanted it in the button. Got to at least get it in the house. And that's what Madison Olson does. Puts it in the house. Right on the tee line. Going across. Tee line separates front or top and bottom of the house. Terminology, pretty much. Second shot for Anstead. Well, let's see what it does with the rocks. Now they do get one in the house out of it. A little roll. Now for West, with the lead they have and the situation they're in with the hammer, they can just keep taking them out. Marshfield puts one in the house. Let's take it out. And that's what they do. So it's a takeout, a roll, sometimes called a press. But now they've got 2 in the house. And 1 in the 4 and 1 in the 8-foot circle. So the second for Marshfield, Sydney Vensky. Has a target there. Right now they've got to work on taking out, Marshfield has to work on taking out the West stones because West is in the button area. And to get closer than them is going to be difficult. This one will help, I think. Well, they took 1 point away. And the West stone is still wide open right now. First shot for Ella Wendling. And she's looking for a takeout. And accomplishes that task. That was easy. Marshfield skip with the instructions. Easy to plan, very difficult for Marshfield here this morning to carry out consistently. This is Sydney Vensky, their second. Just put it in the button, but it's not going to get there. It's in the house, but, you know, just a bite. Anything over the color of the circle, in this case the blue with the 12-foot, is a score if it's by itself. Okay, it'll be a point. So that one way in front, if nothing else is in the house, that's a point. Unlikely, of course. Wendling's second shot. She puts another one in there for West. So now they're laying 4 points. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the end of the end, which will be the end of this game, unless things drastically change. Well, that didn't do anything. Again, that makes it really difficult to have that rock out there in front on the line. The scoreboard shows 8-2, but it's really 8-3. They just didn't put up the point for Marshfield in N6. They are the yellow. So you can see they didn't put it up. Now they're with the third, so it's just a matter of time. With 5 points in there. All red. Second shot for Marshfield. Sierra MacArthur. Take your pick. They're trying to hit at least two coming off on that left side. But you got to have enough weight. That's number one. I think she probably does. Well, she's got the weight. That's not a bad shot. That gives Marshfield a point right there. That's the best shot that I've seen Marshfield play. In fact, one of the better ones of the tournament that we've watched, where you have 5 red in this case, and in one delivery, Marshfield now has the point, and there's a red in front of that, so that's the challenge for West. The problem for Marshfield now is West has the hammer, and they still have 4 reds on the house. So they're going to score probably. Well, let's see. This is interesting. Made it interesting. Let's see what Wendling does. Well, she takes out a teammate, Srock. But Marshfield now has that point sitting there because it's closer to the tee. And let's see what the skip does now for Marshfield. Spindle. She's had some pretty good weight. She's been able to put it in a location in the house pretty well in the last few ends. Sweeper's getting ready to help out. You don't see that often, but when you have 5 stones in the house and 1 throw, 1 delivery, tap, just the way it happened too on a roll. It's kind of rare. And if this were a close game, that would have been like, wow. But it's not close enough to make a big difference right now, in all likelihood. Well, Marshfield setting up a guard to protect that 1 point, right, I guess. Now what West is doing is they're asking for a little bit more expertise on the curl aspect of sending the rock down the ice, because they got to go around that guard. Well, they aren't sure what they want to do. They're looking at maybe a press on their teammates' rock now, in which case they'd have to hit it with the right angle to take out the yellow, or to press the yellow out of the middle. See what I think they've made the decision. We'll see what happens with
Amanda Hintz is, okay, she's lining it up. This is an interesting setup for West. Is totally relaxed. I mean, they've got this thing under total control. They don't have to worry about anything. They're in N7. They're up 8-3. Marshfield hasn't shown the ability to score more than maybe one or two. They scored 2 in the second, 1 in the sixth, but the rest of it's been all West. You can see Amanda is used to being a leader on the ice. For her, this is a nice challenge. See what she can do. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful shot. Off a teammate. Roll into the button. Now West has a point. With all those rocks that were on the house at one time now, we're still dealing with 1 point because we've got rocks in the button. And that changes a lot of scoring, much tighter. There's the last chance for Grace Spindle to keep Marshfield in this game and go beyond the seventh end. She knows it. Everyone on the ice knows it. So she'll just do her best. If they can get a couple out of this one, they can probably continue on. But right now, West with 1 on the house would end it if they score 1. Well, Marshfield gets 1. So let's see what happens now. We still have the hammer for West, so right now Marshfield has 1. They did get 1 back out of that rock, which was a nice one. Nice job by Grace Handel. Grace Spandle's been pretty accurate for Marshfield as a skip. She shown some abilities. Probably handled the weight issue better than, or the push issue better than her teammates. Amanda Hintz, she knows if she does what she wants to do here, it'll be over. And they'll be in the semifinals. And a chance for a state championship. The last one they won was in 2011. With Melissa Sandquist, Tricia Miller, Marissa Paulson, and Kimberly Descher. Well, she's heading right on. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than that. There's your 4 points, and that's your match. There are the handshakes. The final 12-3. Wausau West moves to the semifinals, 3-0 in their bracket. Semifinals this afternoon. Marshfield finishes at 1-2 in their bracket. And they had the handshakes. Now they get rid of the rocks. Everybody does their thing to help out. So, first game of the day, game number 1 of week or day number 2 in the state high school curling championships, and it was the third game for the 2 teams. The winner moves on to the semifinals. That's Wausau West with a 12-3 win over Marshfield. For Chris Berge, I'm George Hirsch with the commentary. Hope you enjoyed our broadcast of the Wisconsin State High School Curling Championships from the Wausau Curling Club. Till next time, take care.